Hey everybody, it's been quite some time since I've got to talk to you in a video format, at least about things that I like to talk about, models, toys, all that malarkey. It's about time that I get to it. We're going to talk about a little underwater boy today, the Zogok, if I pronounce that correctly. So once again, that can only mean one thing, everybody. It's a Gundam! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Zogok, Zeon's finest underwater mech, at least, from my perspective at least. I love the colour scheme of the greys, the orange, the lightish blues in places, and the blacks, and then the nice red mono eye underneath a cover, which again is a nice little look to it. He's just got this big puffy, chunky look to him, like you just don't want to mess with him in a fight, which is, you know, how I like these kind of robots. It's even got spiky anime robot hair, which does it for me perfectly. It does everything I'd want a Japanese underwater mech to do. It's just got a really good look to it, if you ask me. Now, moving on to articulation, we will start off with his eye here, because his eye can move, but there is this big plastic cover in the way. So we need to take that out, and once you do, you can get to his eyes. It is worth mentioning that with this, it's best to leave an extra bit of flash on from when you're cutting it, just to give it a little bit of extra friction when it goes in there, otherwise it might fall out. Now, the actual joint here is one big ball joint, and there's a lot of space for the little camera eye to move around here, so you can get him to look up to the side or all those directions, which isn't too bad for a big old eye in the center of him. The screen can only go in one way, with that point at the bottom and the flatter point at the top, and if I can get this, this is granted a lot easier if you don't have a camera in front of you and a burning hot light next to your face, but it will go in eventually if I get this right. And there we go. If I pick him up and shake him like a baby, it will not come out. Nope, it's stuck in there, but if you do cut off the extra plastic, it might, to be honest, so be aware of that. Onto the arms, and they're a little bit limited because they're all connected by ball joints. Each of these grey parts is a ball joint, so it stops them being able to bend at a real good angle. They can't really go straight either. They can this way, but not straight ahead of him or straight up in the air. We can all rotate these ball joints and the wrist at the hand as well. That's on a ball joint, so that wobbles. But all in all, these arms just feel restricted, just in some ways that you'd like it maybe to move a bit better. Or at least I feel like that anyway. Now, he does have some joints in his waist, but they are stuck. Why is that, you might ask? Well, because of these cables going from his backpack to his sexy booty. So all you have to do is unplug the cables, which can be a little bit tricky, but once you do, it frees up his waist, and he can move that around as all ball joints usually can. And if you're worried about, hey, what's this going to do with the cables? You go, hey, don't worry about it. Once you've got them, you know, in a normal kind of position, just pop them back and they go in quite nicely. It just gives a little bit of added articulation, but you need to play around with it a little bit more than you'd have to. The legs are really good thanks to these nice universal joints in his hips, so he can get the split stance real easily, and he gets a good range of legs going forward, a good amount, you know, as you would expect a robot to do, I suppose. And it's nicely cut. It does push the leg out as you push it upwards, but not too much. A decent knee bend as well. What's nice is as you bend the knee, this little bit kind of comes out and fills in the gap, so it looks quite nice. It's a bit dusty in there, but there you go. And we have a big ball joint again, so you can swivel and twist the ankle as well. So he can get a lot of decent poses out of his leg, and you can twist them at the thighs, of course. So wide-legged stances and stomping, he's all good. He can dance with the best of them. Now, he is a Gundam, he is a robot, so he has extra hands. What's the difference between these hands? Well, they have a hole in them, and the other ones don't. That is the only difference. One can hold things, one can't. Apart from that, they look identical. I can't tell the difference between them. It almost seems kind of pointless having two sets of hands in here, to be honest, because I just use these ones. So he can always hold things, rather than the other ones that can't. For weapons, he's also got 2 Sturmfausts, I think they're called, looking at the wiki page, which he can toss at people and blow up like crazy grenades. And how do you store these, you might wonder? Well, you do it with this thing. As we switch over to the booty cam, this little grey piece that I talked about slots in there. And all you do is you, as I say, slot it in, and there you go. He's got some Sturmfausts on his bum, which is great, I suppose. You can also get the other one in there, but it is worth mentioning you have to be careful, as I have heard of these things breaking. And you definitely don't want a Sturmfaust breaking. He can hold them, so he can either drum people on the head or throw them, because I guess that's what you do with a live grenade. I don't know, I'm not part of the military. Like I say, this can be a little bit delicate, so just, you know, be careful when you're pushing them in and pulling them out, and all that jazz, because you don't want that stuff breaking. He also has a heat saber in a non-hot form, I suppose you could say. So, this is the blade and the handle. They are 2 separate pieces. And what you do is, there's a little groove in here, and you push and pull, and eventually they should come out. But they are on a very small peg, so you've got to be careful so it doesn't break. And it just broke. Well, there you go. Well, I managed to get the peg out from here. And as you can see, the peg just did snap completely off, which was a shame. There's 2 little bits still sticking out of the hilt, which you can use to go into the grooves on here, and we'll see if it fits and holds, more importantly. Feels tight. It's not coming off, so that's a plus. But that's, you know, I'm not too fussed that it broke. I'm more annoyed at myself than anything, because I display it with this, the heat saber turned on. I've actually coloured in with a red Sharpie to give it this nice colour. It's real easy to do, and that's pretty much why I did it. It's got this nice beam effect to it, and it required no effort or painting skills, so that was a plus. And again, it just plugs into the saber there. It didn't colour in the bottom, but, you know, it doesn't matter too much. I think it looks way better than the turned off form. So, you know, get rid of that. I'm not too fussed. This is how your saber should be, and he'll be cutting fools with it. Now, last on the agenda are these. These are basically arm extension parts, because he's got some robot punching action, I guess. I don't know. What you do is you remove this piece here, his wrist, and you'll notice there's a sticker on the inside of that yellow piece, so it blends together with this part, so it looks like his arm is extending in a punching action. And then you just pop it back on. It doesn't really do anything to the articulation. It just extends the hand just a little bit. Or if you wanted, you could pull this piece off and add the second piece for even longer gains for his arm. I don't know how this logistically works, but hey, it's an option and it's a play feature. So maybe you have him leaning on it like a walking stick or something weird. I don't know. Play with how you like, I suppose. I did mention a stick on the inside of his wrist. There's some other ones to mention as well. Not many, though. He has one on each of these wrists. I don't like them too much because they've got little cuts in them, which you can see, and it's quite hard to line up. You've got one on each of the Sturmfausts. Again, this white one that goes all the way around. And the final one is the eye cam, which is nice and easy and simple. So this is pretty good. Because personally, I do prefer to have a model kit that has as few stickers as possible, and yet looks as good as the promotional stuff. And I think all in all, this is good. His arms are limited, as I said, which is a bit disappointing. But I think everything else is on point. It's a fun build. It looks good, at least I think so anyway. And he's got some good, decent accessories. He could just do with more hands. But apart from the arms and the hands, I really like this kit a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. And if you get it, I hope you enjoy it as well. So anyway, guys, I hope this has been interesting and fun for you, as it has for me. And until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip side of the flippity flops or something weird. See you later.